Heart out.
Hi, I'm Kayla Ogden.
And I'm Rachel Sear.
And this is
Write Your Heart Out.
Hey Guys.
Hi.
So Rachel and I always like to come with the podcast energy and a bit of like lightness at least.
Yep. Try to.
And I would say this is probably the most challenging moment in Rachel's closet
Yeah.
for me to bring that kind of like lightness and just suspend my terror, I guess.
I think terror is the right word.
Yeah. So this morning, most Americans woke up to the news that was all the headlines had a quote from Donald Trump saying that
He was going to just wipe Iran off the map, basically.
Yeah.
And that they better...
Yeah, he says a whole civilization will die tonight.
Like hearing it out loud. I've read it a bunch of times, but hearing it out loud just feels even more flabbergasting.
Oh my God, it's sickening. He wants the shipping channels to be opened up, and he thinks that saying this is the way to get that. And it's just impossible to, as much as we can tell ourselves, oh, he said things like this before. This is part of the philosophy of the art of the deal. It wouldn't actually happen. He backs off of things all the time.
I mean, those are pretty big words.
It's still like, well, there's more than a 0% chance that he's going to fucking nuke a whole country full of people tonight. I don't think that's going to happen, but like just like spiritually, it hurts.
Absolutely.
And so like we still have to get on with our day and, do the things that we love and do the things that we like to do and, dig into our interests and find the joy in that. And I'm sorry to anyone who's being personally affected by this war.
Yeah.
It's dark. And you know what? We have some dark stories today, I think.
We do. We have a few. Today's going to be a Storytime episode. We have some horror that more people have sent in.
Which is like, I didn't even know that these two guys sent anything in. Two more men sent in stories, horror stories.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, we're in a dark mood and these are obviously going to be dark stories. So maybe our narration will kind of bring, the right kind of energy.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll channel our dark energy.
It's a dark voice being spoken in the world right now.
Oh my gosh, Rachel's joking about voice because we know exactly what it is and we know nothing about it at the same time. And your dad had a thing or two to say, right? I haven't heard this yet.
Yes. So my dad sent an email. Hi, Dad. And I'm just going to read the email because he shares how he understands the voice exercise.
Which I love because last episode we shouted out our listeners and we were like, do you know what voice is? We think we got it wrong. Please tell us. Like literally we wanted you to tell us. And guess who came through? Just like always.
Dave.
Mr. Dave.
Although I got to admit, Dad, your answer confused me more than anything.
Okay, let's see.
Maybe saying it out loud will be helpful.
Okay.
Dear Rachel and Kayla, I am still enjoying your podcast. Here is how I understand the voice exercise. First, I had to define the purpose of the exercise, which I imagine is for a writer to have agency and control over multiple emotional, practical, and charismatic points of view to propel their intended story forward in a way that the reader finds compelling, engaging, and nourishing, etc. Second, what do all stories have in common? An arc, a purpose, and a point. And then he puts in parentheses, a reason to exist or a message to convey. So the exercise is to take a story fragment and use different voices, i.e. a man, a woman, adult, tell and retell the story fragment while still consistently honoring a single and predetermined, for the exercise, story arc, purpose, and point. one path, many people walking on it to one destination.
Hmm.
And he says, am I close?
I love that. I love that idea just in general, when it comes to like spirituality, like where, say, there's like a god or something like a god on top of a mountain, and there's people all around the mountain on either sides, and they're all climbing up a different path to get to the same place.
Right.
And the idea that like God in this situation would be the point of the story, like what in essence you're trying to get across. And then the paths being the different voices that you could use to tell the story.
Sure.
Yeah.
So reading it out loud was helpful.
Yeah.
I felt like it made more sense the second time I read
Yeah.
it. And I do feel like that's what we both did, but in very different ways. Don't you think?
I'm trying to remember what I did. We haven't been in this closet for a while.
We haven't. Okay, so to just be totally upfront with you guys, we haven't been in the closet for a while because we recorded a couple episodes on the same day.
Yeah.
And that was over a month ago.
And in between, like,
a lot
some of us have walked through the fire.
Yeah.
And have come out, and our eyebrows are still singed, but we're moving.
Yes.
So it's like you can't step into the same river twice because the river keeps on moving. So either the river has changed or you have changed.
Okay.
So
we're getting esoteric.
This is so deep today.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm just going into like a deep place because of like all the...
It's a lot happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
It's a lot happening personally and in the world.
Yeah. So what are our voices going to be in these trying times? I guess mine is esoteric and spiritual.
Yeah, that tracks for you. You're a 4.
I'm a 4. Yeah.
My dog broke loose.
Okay. Yeah, no, I really like that. And I've had some more thoughts about voice since. And I think that we can talk about that in our next episode where we will... This is a Storytime episode, which we will share the story shortly, but Rachel's just getting Eugene, her dog, out of the room. This is a Storytime episode, but the next episode, we're going to talk about the book Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash, and she has a great voice. I'm also reading this book called I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I think it's it's not that old. Well, 1995 is 20 years old. I guess that's fucking vintage now. But it's like this dystopian science fiction book. Originally, it was written in French, but it is definitely very voicey. And so is Lost Lambs. So I think that we can talk about both of these books in that context. It's great to be learning so much about voice. And I'd like to, if we can, talk about these stories that we're reading through the lens of voice. But we'll see, because we're going to read the emails that these guys sent us first. And we'll see if they mention like that we can, critique their work or what they want to hear. So the first one, Rachel is going to read, and she'll read you the...
Oh, no, you're reading first.
Oh, I'm reading first because Rachel read David's very thoughtful email.
Yeah, thank you, Dad.
Okay, here's the first one. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. This is really cheering me up.
Oh, good.
Okay. Hey, Kayla and Rachel. I actually took a stab at writing a short story a few weeks ago. It's actually had quite a few views on Reddit/Scary Stories. I wanted to offer it up to you guys if you wanted to read it on your podcast. It's kind of meta, has a lot of Scream lineages, The Strangers, The Purge, a little Seven. Oh, that's cool. Ooh. I can send you a copy if you like, but it is posted here. reddit.com/scary stories/comment/1s4by4u/viral/. Okay, we'll just post that in the comments.
Yes.
But there are 2 parts, but the first part I think has the strongest hook. I'd love some feedback if you decide to check it out. What works? What doesn't? Does anything stick out to you? Thanks. Dan Surber. Cool.
Yeah. So what I've put there in this document that you're looking at right now is just the first part.
Oh, okay. Okay, so viral. It started with a notification, a soft ding from his phone as he sat on the couch. the glow from the screen reflecting off the surface of his Player of the Year trophy on the mantle. He was the university's golden boy, the kind of guy people point to and say to their kids to be more like him. He should have been at the team bonfire, but tonight he just wanted quiet. Ding! He glanced at the screen. Ring alert, motion detected. He frowned. Probably nothing, he thought. He opened the app and froze. 2 figures stood on his porch, tall, still, wearing all black clothes, black hoodies, and white, creepy masks, like something out of a Wes Craven slasher. They're early. It wasn't even close to Halloween. Trevor felt something tighten in his chest. It wasn't panic, not yet. They're probably messing around, he said under his breath, some stupid TikTok thing. But they didn't move. They didn't leave. They just stood there, watching the door for nearly an hour.
Ooh.
Trevor began pacing back and forth. His parents were gone for the week, and he was home alone. His dad had a gun, right? Was it in a safe? Did he even know the code? Was this a prank? What did they want? He checked his Ring app again. They were finally gone. He slowly settled back onto the couch. Friday the 13th, Part 3 was playing in the background. Jason Voorhees was on the screen, awkwardly poking at the camera with a weapon for that 3D effect. Trevor half smiled, his tension starting to lift a little. His phone buzzed. His mom. "Hey, hun, hope you had a good day. Please remember to take out the trash and no parties while we're gone. We'll see you on Friday. I love you." He smiled. Then he checked the Ring app again. Nothing. No creepy visitors on the porch. Not anymore. Then he heard it outside. A scraping noise. Metal on wood. A knife dragging slowly along the side of the house. Then he heard the tapping, a soft knock from the other side of the wall. Someone was knocking on the side of his house. They're back. He called 911 before he'd realized he'd decided to. 911, what's your emergency? Her voice was calm, grounded, real. Trevor clung to it. She was his lifeline. Yeah, hi. My name's Trevor Thomas. I think there's someone outside my house. 2 people, actually. They're wearing dark clothes, white masks. Okay, Trevor, what's your address? 1536 Westlake. Hold on. A sound cut him off. Another knock. Not loud, not aggressive, just deliberate. Knock, knock, knock. Trevor turned slowly toward the sliding glass door. A curtain was pulled closed, obscuring his view out into the backyard. He didn't need to move it aside to know what was out there. A gloved hand knocking softly on the glass. "Oh shit," he whispered. "That was a knock. They're knocking on my sliding door. They're going to break in." "Listen to me," the dispatcher said, her voice sharp. "I need you to move to a secure room right now. Lock the door." Trevor didn't argue. He ran. A small closet-sized first-floor bathroom tucked away just off the living room. Most guests in their house never even knew it was there. He'd be safe there, right? He slammed the door shut, locked it, and hoisted himself up onto the counter, one foot braced hard against the frame. "I'm in the bathroom," he whispered. "Downstairs. It's kind of hidden." "Good. Stay there. Stay quiet. I have units en route to your location." For a moment, just a moment, there was nothing. Then the glass door shattered. The house alarm screamed to life. Trevor flinched so hard he nearly slipped. This wasn't a prank. This was serious. Deadly serious. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. They broke the door. They're inside." "Stay where you are," the dispatcher said. "Do not leave that room." Trevor pressed harder against the door, heart pounding so hard it felt like it might give him away. And then a sound, soft, close, a slow, sharp scrape along the wall, then tapping. His breath hitched. "They're getting closer. They're knocking on the walls," he whispered. "It's getting closer." Tap, tap, tap. The sound moved, searching, finding. "Oh my God," Trevor breathed. "I think they know where I am." The dispatcher's voice stayed steady. "Do not respond to them. Stay quiet." Trevor nodded instinctively, even though he knew she couldn't see him. And then a voice. Soft. Playful. It was almost childlike. Sing-song. Female. "Trevor." Trevor's blood ran cold. "Come out." A second female voice giggled behind it. Light. Amused. "I know you're in the bathroom." Trevor squeezed his eyes shut. No, he whispered. No, no. Do you recognize those voices? The dispatcher asked quietly. Trevor's lips trembled. Yes. Jenny, he whispered. Tara. The giggling grew louder, closer. Let us in, Trevor, the sing-song voice called, sweeter now. We'll make it quick. On the other end of the line, the dispatcher could hear them playfully tapping on the door. Trevor shook his head violently, tears spilling down his face. Please, he whispered, please don't. The first strike didn't sound like a knife. It sounded like a gunshot. The wood splintered. Then came a zip of the blade retreating. Trevor didn't feel the pain at first, only the sudden hot wetness soaking into his jeans. The blade had caught his ankle. Oh my God, no, 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 please, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. More strikes, faster now, 2 blades chopping, cutting, soft giggling from behind the masks.
Ew.
The door shuddered under the assault. Trevor tried to push harder, but his strength was already failing. Jenny, I'm sorry. Please, Tara, please. The blades punched through again and again and again. Each impact is closer, each one louder, each one tearing the barrier apart. The door exploded inward, wood collapsing around him. Trevor fell to the floor, covering his face with his hands. No, please, I don't want to. But the assailants descended upon him. The knives struck down brutally. The pain seemed to come from every direction. Then nothing. The dispatcher's voice cut through the chaos. Trevor, stay with me. Officers are on the way. But Trevor was gone. Ooh, baby. Oh my gosh. Dan.
Yeah.
Wow. What did you think, Rachel?
Well, very riveting. I mean, definitely had me hooked.
Yes, my heart. I feel like my heart is like pounding a little bit.
Yeah.
I liked the twist that they were women.
Yeah. I definitely did not expect that.
They're tall. Okay, so my suspicion, which we haven't read the second part yet, is that the dispatcher is in on it somehow.
Yes. Okay, so that was what I kind of jumped to, was that they knew where he was. Like, they went straight to it, is what it sounded like. So
the girls went straight to the place that was supposed to be hidden,
which is why it feels like the dispatcher was in on it somehow. Mm-hmm. And I was half expecting the dispatcher to say something creepy to him, like knock knock, like her to say knock knock or something.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, she did say, "Do you recognize those voices?"
Right,
which was cool.
Right.
If the dispatcher's in on it, the fact that she asked that makes sense.
Totally,
and is sort of like a breadcrumb or like a hint.
Mm-hmm.
But if she's not, like, would a dispatcher say, "Do you recognize those voices?"
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, the only reason I could think of is if it was like,
do you know this person?
Right.
Or something. And I should say there's one instance of head hopping.
Yes.
Where it says the dispatcher could hear the sounds of the tapping or something like that.
Right.
So because it's from, it's following Trevor, you shouldn't know what the dispatcher can hear.
Correct. I caught that same thing.
Yeah. So it could be Trevor hoped the dispatcher could hear everything that was happening or something like that. Or just take that out.
Yeah, I don't think that was necessary. It doesn't matter what the dispatcher can hear or not. Mm-hmm. Unless it does matter and she's in on it, and then in which case you need to give different details, that would not be the one to give.
Yeah, something like it was loud enough that Trevor was sure the dispatcher could hear or something like that. And then, for me when I was reading it, and this might have just been my problem, because it was, at first I thought they were like already stabbing him because it was like his strength was failing him. So I was surprised when it was like they hadn't come through the door yet. Did you feel that way?
Yeah. So that the door part definitely caught me, because I thought he was in a little closet, and then so he's keeping the closet shut with his feet, and then they get his ankle. But then I don't understand Okay, the first strike is this is the part. The first strike didn't sound like a knife, it sounded like a gunshot. The wood splintered, and then came the zip of the blade retreating. Trevor didn't feel the pain at first, only the sudden hot wetness soaking into his jeans. The blade had caught his ankle.
Oh.
Okay, but then more strikes faster now, 2 blades. At that point, I'm thinking that they're stabbing him. But then it says chopping. So chopping implies the door. But if they have like a butcher knife, what are they using? Did they have an axe at some point? It feels confusing as you can't really chop through a door with a butcher knife unless it was like, maybe describe the door better so that we understand what kind of closet he's in.
Because some doors are hollow.
Correct.
And if it was like an old house, you could maybe make the case that you could see like a blade going through the door. Yeah. Like bullets go through doors, axes go through doors. I don't know if knives necessarily go through doors. Unless they're butcher knives, I guess it could perhaps
I mean,
go
I
through
guess.
like really
I guess
shabby,
so.
old, brittle.
Right. I need a
wood.
better description of the door. I also needed a better description of him in the closet, I feel like. Just because, like, how is he positioned in there? Is he, like, curled up in there?
Or
is
not
he...
a closet, actually.
What was it?
It's a bathroom that's only the size of a closet.
Oh, a bathroom the size of the closet.
And I think he sat up on the counter.
Okay, well, even then. Okay, so then how...
Okay, so the knife went right through the door and caught his ankle, because I think he was trying to keep the door closed with his, like, feet.
Okay.
So is he, like, pressed against the mirror with his feet?
Yeah, I think that we need a better visual of how he's sitting in there. Some description of the bathroom, like even a quickie one that just helps us like imagine him in there a little bit better, and then a better image of the door. Like if this is my grandma in her house used to have this like super flimsy accordion door. That closed off her office. Something like that.
Yeah.
A knife could go through easily. I'm imagining the doors of my house, which are hollow, and I'm pretty strong. Like I work out all the time. Like I'm pretty strong. I don't think that I would have the capability of slamming a butcher knife through a door. So
again
that breaks
without like hurting yourself.
So that breaks it breaks the realism for me.
Which can take you out of the story.
Right.
But I love the idea of an accordion door, like an old vintage thing that's sort of like made of plastic, and like how that would look. Like that would be so specific and vivid. Yeah. And then also like how his strength gives out.
Yeah.
He's a footballer, I think, right? He should be at the bonfire.
Yeah, he was supposed to be at the Player of the Year. Yeah, he has a Player of the Year trophy. So yeah, he's some sort of sport. You imagine a more burly guy.
But it does say that the girls are tall. So it's like, how do so the girls are overpowering him with knives, and they're tall. So maybe they're like big girls. They would have to be big girls so that he couldn't just like literally kick them in the stomach. And you know what I'm saying? Like even if a man that's like smaller than a woman can overpower a woman just because of the way that we're built.
Right.
What I would say is awesome about the story is the way that it builds up, even with these things that, a little bit of disbelief. That didn't really sink in until later when we're done and we're kind of talking about the story. But like while I'm reading the story, I'm not like, oh, it wouldn't be a girl, and oh, it wouldn't be this. Yeah. You're just sort of like, what's happening? And I love that, like, it's like these two girls, he knows who they are. In my mind, because he's like a footballer, he just needs some space and quiet. What I'm getting from this is that he was seeing both of them or something. He cheated on both of them, something like that.
Yeah, there's one point when he says like, I'm sorry, he says something, I'm sorry.
He did something to them. And if it's that he was seeing both of them at the same time, like that's cool and juicy, but it would be really interesting if it was something else.
Yeah, I like that he doesn't tell us, though. I think it's really cool that he doesn't tell us. Because it's like, the Jenny, I'm sorry, please, Tara, please.
Yeah.
So, like, it's clear he knows them well enough to know their voices, even when they're being creepy.
Yeah.
And then it's clear he they have a vendetta against him for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, it adds a nice intrigue.
Yeah. I wonder what part 2 is. But he said that he thinks that part 1 has the stronger hook.
Yes. So this is just part 1.
Can we read part 2 on our next one?
Yeah, well, so yes, I think we should, because the next one that we have to read from Justin is really long. I doubt we're going to get through it. I think we only have about 20 more minutes left to record anyway.
Yeah.
So I think we should do part 2 of both of these in the next story time.
Okay, so you listener, this is so cool. Okay, so next story time, we're going to have part 2 of Dan's work, which is the whole thing called viral?
I think so.
Ooh, it's called Viral. So I wonder if that's a hint about what he did to the girls.
Oh,
Cyberbullying.
I don't know. The
gross.
speculation is going to kill me.
Okay, clearly your work really has us reeling. So that means you did something right.
You did something right.
Okay, so we're going to read the second part next time. And then now let's read our next person's thing. And we'll read about half of it.
Yeah.
And then we'll read the rest next time and then the listener's going to be on a real cliffhanger, baby.
Totally.
And we're also going to, I think, have a story by Janine Inez next time that she's going to read herself, which is our favorite.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
I'm excited about that.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so we're going to start with Justin's email to us. It says, Dear Kayla and Rachel, I'm really enjoying the podcast and want to submit a story for your consideration. Slam, Shatter, Scream is a supernatural horror that tackles both real-world and paranormal fears. I am a published London-based author specializing in speculative horror and have experienced many of the real-world horrors that animate Slam, Shatter, Scream, shaping the emotional depth of the story and grounding it in lived truth.
Oh my gosh,
Justin.
So you've been through this before, Justin.
Okay. And he says, I look forward to your response and hope you enjoy the story. So he's not looking for anything in particular. I think he just wants to share, which I think is very fun.
Okay, that's great. I think that we'll probably redact the middle part of that letter because it was a synopsis.
I agree.
Okay, so that'll be redacted, but yay! Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
This is really cheering me up.
Okay. Slam, Shatter, Scream by Justin Webb. You might think of this as a ghost story, a haunting of sorts, but I've never been one to believe in ghosts or the paranormal. That's a difficult thing for an atheist to do. Ghosts or gods, good or evil, I've never seen any reason for faith, any reason to see beyond what is clearly there. Most people find it comforting, a source of solace, to know that there is something after death, to know that they will continue on in one form or another. And when I was younger, I was very much the same. Why on earth would anyone want their life to come to an end? No matter how painful life may get, how hopeless and tiring one's day-to-day existence might become, surely is better than nothing. The idea of nothingness in itself was incomprehensibly terrifying to me. No more physical existence, no more mental existence, no more spiritual existence, just nothing. I used to lay awake at night as a child, praying to God for God to be real, praying that there was something after death, anything. If we could prepare ourselves for nothingness, then it might be easier to accept. But how could we possibly prepare ourselves for finding something that is simply impossible to experience, impossible to even imagine? Existence is conceivable. It is innately known. Nothingness, on the other hand, is unknown, and it is the unknown that truly terrifies people. Nothingness, on the other hand, is unknown, and it's the unknown that truly terrifies people, that lets their imaginations run wild, that makes them fear for nothingness, that makes them pray to stay alive despite their misery, but not myself, not anymore. It began on a cold November evening. The rain was pouring down outside, knocking at the bedroom window, very much like it is tonight, and I was wrapped up in bed, white satin sheets pulled up to my neck, trying to contain the warmth within. The candle to my left, standing tall on the bedside table, flickered in and out of conciseness as the wax slowly began to fall, and I lay watching it, mesmerized by the flame. Lying silently to my right, facing the other way, was Richard, my husband. I could feel him breathing, his ribs rising and falling, still awake but silent. It's funny how you pick up on little things like that when you share a bed with someone night after night. The difference between their breathing patterns when asleep and awake. All of their movements, all of their little noises. As I lay there watching the red wax trickle down the candle, my eyes wearily closing, my thoughts began to spiral. I lay in the moment right before sleep when the most bizarre thoughts begin to form. Thoughts you can't account for. Thoughts that feel like they don't even belong to you. When suddenly I heard a noise. Slam! My eyes shot open. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to bring me back to consciousness. A slamming sound somewhere in our apartment building, quite far off by the sound of it. A door, a window. It could have been anything. There was no reason to take note of it. Then came the next noise. No more than 30 seconds after the slam, and equally far off, came what sounded like the shattering of glass. I remained where I lay, my body stiff, a tingle running down my spine. Okay, I thought. It sounds as though this is coming from the same apartment. Perhaps someone home late slammed the door and knocked over a glass. There's really nothing to be concerned about. We're not being broken into. We're safe here. It's probably nothing. Then came the scream. I darted up in bed, my eyes now wide open, staring in the direction from which it came. Nothing but darkness, lightly illuminated by the fading embers of the candle. The scream was faint. No doubt it came from the same apartment as the previous two noises, but a scream is not something you ignore. "Richard," I whispered, turning to him, placing my hand gently on his shoulder. "Are you awake?" He stirred, his speech faint and confused. What time is it?" I stared at his face, trying to find comfort in his features. "Richard, I think someone might be in trouble." He stirred again. "Huh?" He rolled over to face me, gingerly opening his eyes. "What are you talking about?" I remained sat up, looking into the darkness, nervous at what might come next. "Nicole, what's going on?" he said with irritation in his voice, annoyed at the disturbance. "I don't know, but someone just screamed, and I'm sure it came from our apartment block." He rolled back over, the bed creaking as he mumbled, "It's probably just a drunk person or something. Go to sleep." I lay back down, turning over to see the candle wax slowly falling onto the guard below. Sure, I thought, people scream for different reasons. Sometimes people scream out of excitement when they've just received good news. Sometimes they scream out of sheer joy, from the thrill of feeling alive. But sometimes people scream out of fear, and that's what this was. Fear. Richard's breathing had changed. He had returned to his slumber, his chest moving up and down under the weight of the duvet. Of course, I thought. Wasn't it always like this? Richard finding peace where I find fear. I lay there, trying to stifle my thoughts. What could I really do? If someone was actually in danger, how would I know which flat to check? The noises were all very faint, and if I could hear them, then so could others that were much closer than me, and I'm sure that all those others will check. Besides, Richard was probably right. It's likely that it was just a drunkard, just an accident, a little scare in the night, nothing to worry about. Mine and Richard's relationship was a complicated one. We had only known each other after 6 months when he proposed to me. I hadn't even met his family yet. My friends thought I was crazy when I told them and warned me against doing it, but they didn't know Richard like I did. He was caring, compassionate, honest, and loved me despite all of my flaws. I can see him now, down on one knee, his hands trembling as he opened the box of the engagement ring, tears of joy surfacing in his bright blue eyes. It was the happiest day of my life. I was single when I moved from Brighton to London. I didn't know a soul in the city and wanted to gain a sense of community, a friendship group with the local area, so I decided to look online for local groups. I tried a few things out, running clubs, pub quiz nights, paint and sip events, but none of them stuck. They all felt too forced. When walking home one night from the pub quiz, I stumbled across a bookshop with an advertisement in its window for Supernatural Book Club. I love reading and always have, but have never felt like the kind of person that was able to dissect and interpret a book in a literate and a cohesive way. I just enjoyed the story. However, this was a new me. And after building up the courage, I decided to head down to the event. He caught my eye straight away. He wasn't exactly my usual type, but there was something about him, a confidence that I found myself lacking. It was the first serious relationship either of us had been in, and it felt like we were both experiencing love for the first time. It was intense, but it felt right. We would spend all of our free time together, cooking, reading, laughing, and staring into each other's eyes. It was perfect. Unfortunately, however, it did not last for long. After a few months of being married, Richard started to change. At first, it started with small things. He began coming home later after work, often intoxicated, resulting in us spending less time together. However, although I saw him less, when I did see him, he was merry, arriving home tipsy and excited to see me. At least we were getting on. He recently started a new job at a law firm in the city, and I thought it was important for him to bond with his colleagues, to make connections. But the more this continued, the more it seemed that it wasn't really about the job at all. The more it seemed it was about us and about me. As the weeks went by, we started seeing each other even less. He began staying out much later than before and returning home much drunker, the alcohol visibly marinating in his pores. But it wasn't just drink. When he arrived home, he would be different, irritable, almost annoyed at my presence. Instead of staying up drunkenly recounting his escapades, he would go straight to bed, ignoring my attempts at conversation and avoiding my touch. "What was that about last night?" he said, when we sat across from each other eating our dinner at the kitchen table. "I barely slept a wink after you woke me." I finished a mouthful of lentils. Undercooked, I thought. "I told you. I heard someone scream. I was concerned." He stared at me. Okay, fair enough. But don't do it again, please." I paused, my spoon hovering before my mouth. "Do what again?" He looked at me stupefied. "Wake me up when you're hearing noises in the night." I looked at him in the eyes. "What do you mean hearing noises in the night? Do you think I was just hearing things?" He mopped up the remaining sauce in his bowl with the last of the bread. "What? When did I say that? I'm just saying don't wake me next time. I had an early start and I need all the sleep I can get right now, okay?" I took a breath. "Okay, I'm sorry," I replied. "It won't happen again." He smiled at me. "Great." We sat in silence for a few seconds, nothing but the hum of the dishwasher. "Anyway," he said, getting up from his chair, leaving his bowl on the table, "I've got some work to finish up. It'll probably take the rest of the night, so we don't wait up." And this was how it went for the rest of the week, our relationship souring by the second, fading into obscurity. An undeniably fat elephant was lodged in our small studio apartment, with Richard always having work to finish in the evening, and me keeping myself to myself at home, scrolling through social media feeds that I had no interest in. This wasn't the life I dreamed of when we married, I thought. It felt like we'd never been further from ourselves. But I told myself it would be okay. We were going through a rough patch. All relationships do. It will sort itself out. And then the noises returned. I'm going to pause there for time.
Ooh, okay. Okay, we're not supposed to say anything, right? Can we say nice things?
I think we can say. I mean, we talked about the other one.
Yeah.
Right? We got to say stuff.
Yeah. I thought he said that he doesn't want us to say anything.
Oh, no, he just didn't ask for specific. He didn't say not to say anything. He just didn't ask for any specific feedback.
He didn't say anything about feedback at all.
Yeah, right. So I think we're allowed to say whatever we want.
Okay, and this is...
You're just not looking for specific feedback.
Okay, so I love the dialogue, how she and he are like kind of talking past each other, and
Sure.
she kind of puts words in his mouth, which is so real.
Totally.
And you do it without like talking, like explicitly saying what the tone is or things like that. Like you don't say, just don't do it again. He said coarsely or whatever. You're just sort of like put it out there for us to interpret. And then she's like, "Well, are you saying that I was just making it up in my head?" And he's like, "No, when did I say that?" And it's like, it's so true.
It's
like
very realistic.
We project our own insecurities onto our partners, and then we make them say those things to us.
Totally.
When they're not really saying those things, hopefully. So I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I like the thing, okay, I hope this comes back around, where it's like it was a supernatural book club.
Mm-hmm.
She met him there, right?
Yep.
But then it's like, oh, I liked books and whatever, but it was never like, oh, and then we read these scary books together at night, or we
started ghost hunting on the weekends.
Yeah,
right?
It wasn't like, it's like that part so far hasn't had any consequences, which would be interesting. I feel like that's a bit of a Chekhov's gun thing in the story. Like it has to go off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the thing about her like seeing him in bed. It reminds me of that part that I always talk about in Gone Girl where Nick is looking at the back of Amy's head, and he's like, "Is there anything more?" I don't know. It makes you want to like whack him over the back of the head. I forget what it is right now.
No, it's just like the little annoyances of marriage. It like it made it realistic. Of like you can just see so much in your partner in their nothingness. You know, when he's just sleeping, it's just the back of her head, and like you can. It's where you like create your own story around them.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think like too. I can really identify with this character because that's exactly what I would do. Like at this age, if I moved to a new town, it's like I would go out there. Like I would go to all these different groups. Like I've done that kind of thing many times before. And like just the simple conclusion that it always felt a little bit forced.
Totally.
It's like, and something that I found with that is that if you just keep on going and you keep on going and going and going, eventually those people just become your friends and it's not forced anymore. That's kind of what happened with our friend group for me. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more. I feel like there was a lot of background in their relationship that I'm curious as to if it was necessary. I don't know, because I feel like, so in our writers group that we have now had a few meetings, we went over My Dinner for Eight, one of the first chapters, and helpful feedback that I got was that I was spending a lot of time describing stuff that wasn't necessary. And to me, it became necessary later on, but it wasn't. And I was able to see it once people pointed it out. And it was just reiterating over and over, like, monotonous points that I feel like are her inner dialogue. And I'm wondering if that's how this is for, like, do the ins and outs of how they got married actually matter in this story? Because I felt like just because we're on this time crunch, right? We're going to have to break it into 2 parts. I'm more conscious of the quote unquote time that we're spending on subjects that might not come into play later.
Right.
And so I hope that all of those things about their complicated relationship are going to come more into play as the story goes on. Otherwise, I would consider that a darling that could potentially be lost.
Yeah. It's like the idea that every word in a short story has to like earn its place.
Totally.
I personally like really just enjoy like the interdynamics between like people and like the story of how people met or like the things that they're feeling about their relationships. Like I can sit there and talk to my friend about that kind of shit like forever. So I do find it interesting. It kind of tickles my fancy, but I also agree that hopefully like that what you're developing here, it sort of like pays off, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, I like it too. This is the kind of stuff that I write where there's a lot of background and nitty gritty that I feel like matters. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that it all matters. That's what I'm hoping that all of these things come into play as the story goes on, because I enjoyed reading it and I like knowing this backstory just like you. Like it tickles my fancy, So I guess that wasn't a criticism. That was a hoping that these all come into play.
Yeah. Just hoping to see what comes from it.
Totally.
And I'm really excited to hear both of the next parts of these stories. This is the first time we've ever left the readers on a cliffhanger.
I know.
So our next episode is going to be about Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash. And then this one will come back around very soon. We can promise you that.
Yeah, I think we can do it sooner rather than later. So that
because we have the cliffhangers.
And I want to know.
I know. I want to know too.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, but don't read it without us.
Oh, I won't. I promise. I am good at not reading.
Okay, so Hearties, or just our listeners and people whoever's at the other end of this.
Yeah, lots of people on the other side of the pond.
Thank you for sending in your work. Please, everybody send in your work. I love to hear it, and I love feeling like, it's just like having somebody talk back, like yelling into a chasm, and then all of a sudden somebody says like something back. It's so cool.
It really is.
Yeah. And you're also like fucking good.
Yeah,
too.
You guys are very talented.
And I can tell that these are not AI. Like I know that these are not AI.
Someday someone's going to send something AI and try to trick you.
Yeah, I will not be tricked. I know.
I'm so excited for the day that this happens and you know it. It'll be so exciting if you detect it. Okay, guys, stay safe. I hope that if there's anyone in the Middle East listening, that you are especially safe.
Let's all do what we can to make the world a better place.
Yeah, right?
do what we can in our communities and for those that we love, and do our best.
That's what we can do.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.